Welcome to the Chiefs record prediction video. Sorry if there's actually anyone that's been out there paying attention to like all of these videos and being ready for them to come out, especially since there's no schedule to them. And this one took me a few extra days because I got kind of busy. Sorry about that, if anyone even cares. But here we go with the Chiefs. I mean, they're going to be one of the simplest teams to discuss because they basically have little to no turnover from last season. And I mean, they've got one of the best players in the world right now, and he kind of is like a cheat code for them, so that helps them out a lot. But they were obviously the Super Bowl champions last year. They went 12-4 in the regular season, though, and for the talent they had, you could say that the actual regular season, for them was pretty underwhelming. Sammy Watkins has some of the most random turn-up games ever. He's just all over the place. It's like sometimes he's on, sometimes he's off, and you never know what to expect with him. Running back, shotgun motion, catches the defense's eyes, and I just think that how Andy Reid designs a bunch of plays is always great, but he's got a lot of pre-play motion, and pre-play motion is always good to get people's eyes looking into the wrong spot as decoys. Or, I mean, you can use it to, or you can still use the pre-play motion and utilize that player on a play, even not as the fake, because if you get someone going, you get them to pick up speed, and Andy Reid really likes to do that stuff, and it works well for him. Off-balance throws by Mahomes are absolutely incredible. I mean, there's so many of them from the past two seasons. It's crazy, and, you know, I really, when I'm watching it, during the year, I wasn't appreciating it as much, but now going back and having actually checked out, like, 8 teams worth of games this season, it just makes me realize, wow, how amazing having a quarterback like that is, just boosting your team. It's tremendous how much that can make a difference, and especially when he's under duress and can just chuck the ball up perfectly into the window that he needs to fit it into. It's great. Also, it's insane how much he dials up the long ball. Like, he's throwing the ball 20 plus yards down the field. I feel like most of the time the ball is going at least 10 yards down the field, which is just really weird. There's not many plays of him, like, of a receiver catching the ball short and then going a long way run after catch wise, except for maybe right at the beginning of the season with his first touchdown pass to Sammy Watkins, I think, against the Jaguars. I love the Honey Badger. He came screaming against the Lions. I mean, it's just one specific play, but he comes either through the A or the B gap, just flying in at Matt Stafford and tackles him within like 2 seconds of the ball being snapped, and it's just amazing. I love the way the Honey Badger flies around the field. Also, this team has like 2 guys for NFL standards that would be considered short people in Tyreek Hill and Tyrann Mathieu, yet they're 2 of quite possibly the best players in the league. I mean, at their positions, it's crazy. Tyreek Hill also is the fastest player in NFL history, and I don't even think it's a question. I don't care about 40 times. Tyreek Hill on the field is the fastest player in NFL history. Also, once Matt Moore got in the games this season, and I was really surprised with how competent he played. He had a lot of really good touch throws and just on-the-money ball placement that I didn't think he would have, but checking it out, he sure did. Chris Jones is really strong. I mean, good player. He was bullying some people, and I just really enjoyed watching that. 3rd and 9 against the Titans. This is actually, I think this is either the second to last or last game the Chiefs lose this season. It puts them at like 7-4, which is crazy because they go 12-4, but they were at 7-4 one point and don't lose a game after that, I'm pretty sure. But Mahomes steps up into the pocket and a guy's barreling into his face, and he doesn't like jump forward or sideways or any way that would like give him an arm angle because he can't move in any direction. He just jumps straight up in the air and chucks the ball across the middle of the field to, I think, of Mecole Hardman, and he just keeps running for a long touchdown, and it's a great fun play to watch. And like I said, it's just so fun watching Mahomes. Frank Clark is still getting around the edge really well. He's not using as much power as Chris Jones is, but he's good. Juan Thornhill had a great pick six against Derek Carr, and that looked really good. This team's got a lot of pretty. This team's got some pretty good safety play. Not like the Raiders. The Raiders definitely. Good Lord, love that Raiders safety room, but they've got some good safeties on this team as well. Mecole Hardman's basically Tyreek Hill Jr. They basically drafted him last year and were like, this is the second coming of Tyreek Hill, and it's absolutely wonderful. The fact that they have two of those guys on the team is crazy. Andy Reid doing more crazy stuff. He's got the pistol full house set with Travis Kelce in at QB against the Patriots. I mean, that's an awesome play. Then in the last game of the season against the Chargers, they had two fun touchdowns. There's the Damian Williams breakaway run where it's like all the Chargers defenders think he's getting tackled, and then Mecole Hardman gets a return touchdown too. So that was a fun game. Also, in that game, Tyreek Hill runs a deep crossing route. I want something like a deep crossing route or a deep post, but I think it's out of the slot. So it's really not like he doesn't get far across the field. He stays pretty centered. But Mahomes chucks it up to him, and it's completed in a deep pass. But Drew Tranquil of the Chargers is playing like a Tampa 2. So basically, with them going deep down the middle of the field, it's his job to cover that deep middle of the field if a receiver gets really deep. And he actually catches up. Like, Mahomes underthrows the ball a little, so that probably hurt Tyreek Hill. But since he underthrows the ball, Drew Tranquil actually like catches up to him and tackles him, and Drew Tranquil just looks so disappointed with himself about the fact that he let Tyreek Hill get behind him when he's a middle linebacker, and I'm just like, why is he upset about that? I'd be so proud if I was able to tackle Tyreek Hill after he ran past me. But I mean, obviously, I think it was towards the end of the game, and the Chargers were still trying to come back, so it really was reasonable why he was upset. They really lost them the chance to win the game. Damian Williams is awesome, but I mean, it makes sense why they want more running backs added to this team. I mean, he seemed like LaShawn McCoy did some stuff early in the season, but Damian Williams really seemed like the only guy who was actually making plays for them the deeper into the season they got. All right, then we get to the playoffs, and they go down 24-0 against the Texans. Now, I'm sitting there watching this game against the Texans, and I'm like, okay, the Chiefs' offense is pretty competent. Like, I know they're down 24 points, but since it's this Chiefs' offense, there's a chance by the end of this game that they may be able to, like, bring it close, or maybe even a comeback. But there is absolutely no way that I was thinking, oh, yeah, down 24-0 with 10 minutes left in the second quarter. I'm sure they'll take the lead to half, but that's exactly what they did. They took the lead to half, and that touchdown at the end of the half, and then they were down 10 in the Titans game in the AFC Championship game as well. But there was the end of the half TD against the Texans was huge, and then they also got an end of the half TD against the Titans, which I'm pretty sure that one took the lead. I'm pretty sure actually both of them took the lead away from the other team. And when they took the lead away at the end of those halves, they basically didn't look back. Mahomes is just magical. Just so many notes on here about his ability. I guess that note's referring to the Super Bowl when it's 3rd and 15 and they're down 10 with like somewhere between 7 to 10 minutes left. And it's just a deep route to Tyreek Hill on the left side of the field, and they complete it, and he puts it in a window between like a deep defender and a sideline defender, kind of where it had to be. Also, they schemed it up well. They got the deep corner to play shallow, running some like deep dig routes or something, and it was just a nice job getting Hill open on that corner. Then we've got. I forgot that Fox got a new football scoreboard for the Super Bowl. So that thing looks better than the old one, but I think Fox still has like the ugliest screen overlay of any of the sports networks. I like CBS's, looks fine. ESPN's my favorite because they got the personnel packages on the bottom of the screen, and also NBC's looks good. So yeah. Then I started looking at some of the stats. Okay, wait, one more thing. Kendall Fuller ends the Super Bowl with an interception, but he had none in the regular season. Thought that was funny. Travis Kelce had the most receptions on the team. Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill were second on the team. Uh, Not second, but Tyreek Hill was second and Sammy Watkins was third, but they were a lot closer in receptions than I thought they would be, which was very interesting to me. Then Demarcus Robinson, they re-signed him. He was the next highest receptions leader on the team, and honestly, when I saw that they re-signed him, I was just like shaking my head because I just remember the reason that they went. Okay, there was the blocked punt in the Texans game, but they go down 24-0 in that Texans game, and I think before they were down 24 points, they actually let up. I think not let up, but I think Demarcus Robinson dropped it like 3 passes up to the point in the game, and it was just like easy like drag route completions, and it was like, holy cow, catch the ball. These are short passes that are supposed to be easy for Mahomes to hit if the deeper stuff isn't getting open, and he was just not making the play. So I don't know why they've got confidence in him, but whatever. Next, Charvarius Ward is a cornerback on their team that I'm really not even familiar with, but I look at his stats and it seems like he played well last season, so see if he can keep that up next season. No player on this team reached 10 sacks. I mean, no crazy output. Like, they've got some good pass rushers, but it's like a lot of the teams we've been looking at recently. Like, I'm just thinking about the Niners and the Chargers, each having Bosa brothers and how important they can be to a game, but they don't really have the crazy pass rusher, but they've got good guys like Clark and Chris Jones. Frank Clark had 12 tackles for a loss last season. Anthony Hitchens led the team in tackles, but I mean, holy cow, the linebacking core is weak. Like, for a Super Bowl winning team, you would think that you would need a better linebacking core, but whatever, it's just weird. Then everybody is coming back coaching wise and stuff, and with how this offseason's going so far and the limited options you've got for off-season program stuff, I mean, it's definitely good to have a coaching staff back that just led you to a Super Bowl. And I also think of what's of note from the Super Bowl season is that almost every other team I've looked at, I've said, oh, there's significant injuries to this team. This team did not have any significant injuries last year, which helps out tremendously. Teams can be so much better by not having any significant injuries at all. It's crazy. You had Mahomes for those 2 weeks, sort of a little mid-early season time range, but besides that, no big deal. Honestly, the other weird part is they didn't really lose or gain anyone crazy. I mean, there was just a few names on here that I figured were fun. Taco Charlton was a guy a little while ago. They added him. He's a big name for a little bit. Jordan Teamu, great XFL player. Shea Patterson, QB from Michigan, I think. I think he was at Ole Miss for a while, but he was recently at Michigan. And I just think all those guys are interesting, but I mean, just talking about the free agent department, there really was no one to talk about except for DeAndre Washington's now on the team. He was kind of good for the Raiders last season, so all right. And then 2 guys that they lost that I figured were mentionable one was their punter and Colquitt, and the other is Emmanuel Agaba. So I mean, there's really not any crazy turnover on this team, except for the fact that the guys that they added in the draft. First round, I loved the pick. Loved it. I thought they were going to go running back here, but I thought they were going to think that DeAndre Swift was the running back that they would like, because I thought they would go for either an elusive or a pass catcher running back, something like that to fit their scheme. So they did, because they picked Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of LSU. He's a great pass catcher, and holy cow, his I think I've said this every time I've talked about him, but his Darren Sproles comparisons are unreal, and I just see it in him every time I watch him play now, and that's really exciting. A good career ahead if it's anything like that. Really hyped, and I can't wait to see how Andy Reid uses him. Willie Gay Jr., next guy, a linebacker out of Mississippi State. He's a really good athlete, but his football knowledge, I'm not really sure. I didn't see anything that was like showing off knowledge. And another thing is that it's a Chiefs pick, so not surprisingly, he had off the field issues in college, and It really was like, oh yeah, the Chiefs will take a chance on him then. Next, they went in the third round. Lucas Niang, tackle out of TCU. I saw a little bit of his stuff, but there's not really. Once again, tackles, offensive lineman, so hard to judge. But he's a big body. I like the size. I think if they're looking for a tackle, I like the size he's got. Next, they go L'Jarius Sneed, safety, Louisiana Tech. He ran a 4.38, so I'm not really surprised that he's achieved now. I mean, they love speed there. And Michael Dana, defensive end out of Michigan. I don't think he's going to turn into anything. He just didn't seem like a special player from anything I saw. And then my favorite player that they drafted, Bo Pete Keys, just because I love that name. But that's literally all I know about him. All I know about him is his name. Like I said, this team is probably the simplest team we've talked about so far. But let's get right into how I think they'll do for teams they play next season. So, like usual, let's start with the division opponents. Every year you play some division opponents. Denver, Las Vegas, Los Angeles. One home, one away for each of those. Now, I really like the Chiefs. Mahomes alone. Mahomes and Andy Reid, with the weapons they have on offense, I can almost completely disregard the defense, because if the opposing team doesn't score nearly every time they have the ball, then you may be in trouble when you play these guys, like legitimate trouble if you're not scoring every time you have the ball. So I'd say that against Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Denver, even though I love the Chiefs, I'm going to say that the division is much, much, much improved. I really like the direction the other three teams are headed. So I'm actually not going to give the Chiefs all 6 games. I don't know if that sounded like I was leading towards something more hefty than that, but I think they'll drop a game in the division. I'm just not sure where. I think it'll either be against Denver or LA on the road. If I had to pick one game, I'd say going to Denver may be a hard win, and they may lose there. So 5-1, starting with the divisional opponents. Then let's look at their home games. They play Atlanta at home. I'm not going to say that Atlanta's going into Kansas City and beating them at 6-1. Carolina's coming to town. I'm not going to say that. I like the addition of Teddy Bridgewater, but keeping up with them in points, that's probably a win too. That's a 7-1. Now Houston. Houston is definitely a harder game. Houston came into Kansas City last year and beat them. I would definitely say that Houston has a chance to win again this year. I hate that they traded DeAndre Hopkins. It just can't get through my mind. But the other thing is when I get to the Texans and I have to pick how they're gonna do, I have no idea how I'm gonna lean. But I'm gonna say the Texans could be one of those toss-up games. And then they've got New England and the Jets at home as well. I'm going to say they're going to take those 2 games for sure. So that's 8-1 before I necessarily pick the Houston game. I'll leave the Houston game as more of a toss-up game. Also, then there's some more games that they've got here that are probably toss-up games. They're going to have to go to Baltimore, and they have to go to Buffalo. Those 3 games may all be kind of on edge for me. I mean, I can't even say that. I'm probably just being a Bills fan, actually, by saying that they're gonna not win in Buffalo. They're gonna beat the Bills. They'll probably easily beat the Bills. But the Baltimore game, on the other hand, the Baltimore game is a toss-up. I would really like Kansas City. I would really probably pick Kansas City if Kansas City was at home against Baltimore, but since they're going to Baltimore, less likely to do that. So I'm going to say that's a toss-up game, but they beat the Bills. Let's see who else they've got on here. They've got to go to Miami, to New Orleans, and to Tampa Bay. Oh boy, that's tough. They're going to beat Miami, but it's really trying to pick where I'm going to see these losses here. I'm going to say, like I said, I'm going to say one loss in the division, and then they got to go to Tampa, to New Orleans, to Baltimore and Houston at home. How many games is that? 1, 2, 3, and a fourth game. I don't know. Would they only split those games? Or would they lose more of them? I don't know. With 3 of those coming on the road, they could lose 3 out of 4 of those games, seeing that 3 of them are on the road, being Houston, Baltimore, New Orleans, and Tampa. With 3 of those on the road, I think they could lose 3 of those games. They could still go into one of those buildings and win, but they could also lose to Houston at home or something. So I think, based off that, I'm going to say out of those games, they'll lose 3. They'll lose the 1 in the division. And I think, actually, with where they landed last season, they landed 12-4 last season with kind of a 4 losses that are kind of all not terrible losses. Not terrible, not good losses. Like, they were kind of gross losses. But if they lost 4 games on this schedule, it would be a lot different. I could see them sitting at 13-3, but I think for this team, I'll pick them to go 12-4, and I feel comfortable with what I just said. 12-4. They've got a lot of difficult opponents on here. They are a really good team, but like I said, the NFL's tough, and there's tough opponents on everybody's schedule. So, I mean, winning 75% of your games is nothing to scoff at. So, well, if you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching. That made a lot of sense. Bye-bye.